Hey, before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. So before we get started with the second part of the XTB monolith review, I just wanted to acknowledge a correction from viewer Brad Kreckelberg, who corrected my assumption that Fans Toys Motormaster included combiner parts. He says that the trailer only becomes part of Motormaster's bot mode, and it does not have any of the combiner parts. That's going to come separately. That was a big assumption on my part. Thanks for the correction, Brad. Gold star for you. All right, on to part 2 of the review. Here's Monolith, aka Menasor in combined mode with all the Stunticons in place, including Motormaster in the back. As you can see, he's looking pretty good, but getting him into this position and keeping him this steady so that I could rotate him like this has been a chore, a major chore. Once he actually fell over because he wasn't completely balanced, knocking dead end completely off of the arm. Both parts of dead end came off the arm. That led me to find that dead end's head was loose inside his alt mode here. I'm assuming that it popped off of its ball joint when it fell. So despite the fact that it seems to be standing in a decent pose here and seems to be fairly stable, it was a challenge to get Monolith into this position. You know, I was thinking that I shouldn't judge it necessarily on the fact that I had a hard time getting it into this stance, but if you're not going to judge posability on an A-frame stance at minimum, what else can you really base it on? So he may be very posable and may hold those positions very well, as we can see in photos, as long as those photos weren't simply edited to look like that. But I'm not even excited to try to pose this guy at this point. I don't even want to pose him for the video because it's just going to take up too much time trying to pose him. I will see about posing for some of the accessory kit, but yeah, doing it for the sake of posing to show his articulation and whatnot, I don't even really want to touch him. That being said, he is good looking, and I am glad to have a representation of Menasor and the Stunticons in my MP collection. Couple of quality issues here. It seems that the plastic is fairly soft. There's some chatter marks here. I don't think they were there when I started the transformation of this guy. On the knees, you can see here, that's probably from where I tried to turn it in the wrong direction, and you can see that it chewed up the plastic already. So we've got some soft plastic on this thing. The chest plate has 2 minuscule tabs at the bottom of it at the top of the abdomen, and it doesn't even tab in all the time. So I was really pulling for X-Transbots on this guy, and I know that maybe it's not even the best idea for a combiner, considering that it really wasn't even that well designed in the G1 cartoon. So trying to make this all work really is bolting bots onto something. And they've done a really good job of that. The engineering around it is pretty impressive. I don't think it's necessarily great engineering, but they made it work. That being said, the bot does have those ankle tilts like I talked about earlier. It's got a knee bend, and in this stance, you might be able to tell that those knees are pushed all the way back. That was one of the challenges getting him to pose straight up, was realizing that those knees bent forward a little bit because they were in a slightly bent position. So that was a little bit of a light bulb moment there. The head articulation isn't very great. It is a cool feature that they have attachments for the gun and the sword so that he can wear them on his back if he's not got them in hand. If you've seen some of the promo photos, you might have seen 1 or 2 where you can really see that the bot seems to have good hand articulation, and it does look like all the fingers and thumbs are jointed. Those fingers look like they're probably going to be pretty posable, and I'm excited about that. I like hand articulation. Makes the bot seem more real to me. On the leg bots, what we see as the wheels on these guys are actually wheel covers that are being used to attach the bots. It's not a great attachment system. I'm especially having trouble with breakdown. I don't know if there's a part on there that's not the correct part, and maybe it's it needed the mirror opposite, but one of those wheels just, it does not seem to really want to connect and stay connected, that front driver's side wheel. So they made something work, but it's not great. A little bit of a problem I had with the manufacturer of this was that the attachment clip for the front side of dead end at the left arm there is supposed to be spring-loaded, and you can see the spring in it, but it doesn't act spring-loaded, so it's actually got no tension on it. In order to keep the front part of the car clipped into the upper arm there, I had to use a spudger to make sure that that tab was really pressed down. So if I care to do it, I may have a little bit of a disassembly, reassembly project on this guy. All right, let's move on to the accessory kit and see how some of those G1 cartoon parts look on this guy. And here Monolith is with the oversized accessories to be cartoon accurate. I was afraid that putting these parts on was going to be more involved than I wanted it to be, and they went on pretty easily. There are a couple tolerance issues on the tail ends of both bots, where the end of the cars are. Putting the tail fins on either end of those cars had a little bit of a snag. The tolerance is very tight. Also, the ratchet here on the left arm doesn't ratchet at the same angle as the right arm. So I don't know if they used like the same ratchet, and because they had to flip it, it doesn't get that same angle, or what. So again, if I disassemble this guy, that may be a disassembly, reassembly project to see if there's something misaligned or if that's just the wrong part for the arm. So it's a minor point, but it is a little annoying that you put all this money into this and then you find out that the arms don't drape at the sides of the character exactly the same. It looks a little funny that the cars on his legs are so much smaller, but if that's cartoon accurate, then whatever. I'm not in this for the cartoon accurate look, so I may or may not pose him in this combined mode with these accessory parts, but they do look good. They're all plastic. There's nothing that moves on them. They're just molded pieces, but they are painted really nicely. They did a lot of good detail work on the paint. And as you can see, for both bots, the color matching is really well done. So here on drag strip, you can see that the yellows match fairly well. They look better on camera than they do to the naked eye, but it's really not that bad of a difference. It's definitely a better blend on dead end than it is on drag strip, you know, but if you're looking at him as a combiner for combiner's sake and not nitpicking things, then yeah, it's a really good job. So while everything looks good overall, looks really good overall, it's not without its paint quality issues, as you can see here. There's a little scuff or rough paint near the left headlight, and also there appears to be a piece of lint included in the paint. And you can see that little black speck there that's not covered with paint. Also, it's raised from the surface, so maybe it got dropped on the paint after it was painted. Now, if you got the accessory kit and you got Gravestone, then you ended up getting a total of 6 Menasor faces. So you get this one with Gravestone, and this is the yelling face that accompanies the face here. So you can switch those out. And if you got the accessory kit, then you got these series of faces here. And as you can see, 2 of them are like, I guess, the IDW inspired faces, and then you get 2 other faces for the normal G1 Menasor. So very cool, you get 6 faces total for your Menasor. So here we go, let's swap these faces out and see how he looks. One thing that I wanted to mention before we swap out the faces is that the eyes are supposed to light up. So there's a battery compartment in the back of his head apparently. I have not gotten the batteries necessary, nor have I checked that compartment. I'm gonna skip that for now because his balance is just too precarious. And if the batteries aren't there, I'll have wasted some time anyway. But that little knob right there in the top of his head, that's a little button, I'm assuming, for the lights. Otherwise, he's just got a knob head. And here are the contents in the manual showing that extra face that comes with the trailer. So those 4 things, excuse me, are included with the trailer. One disappointment I wanted to note is that these fans here in the top of the trailer, I saw that they are a G1 element for the design of the character, but I was really hoping that this was going to be some kind of a sound effect package that was going on there. But no, they're just molded pieces. There's no speakers inside. There are no catchphrases. There are no sound effects that go with this. So for the price, I was really hoping we were going to get at least, in addition to the light up eyes, some sound effects, but no such luck. I'm not sure if they're lying to us in the manual, but they say it's as simple as swapping out the faces. But I see a screw-shaped hole here in the back on that red plastic, and that makes me concerned that it's going to be something I actually have to unscrew and screw in. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, but before we do that, let's talk about his head articulation a little bit. There is a little bit down. There is not much up. It's pretty much straight on or down. He can go to the left, and he can go to the right. And, well, if you push the plate down, then I suppose he can actually look up more. But I think you risk popping the neck plate out of position if you do that. So there you go. Limited articulation. He does not have a head tilt side to side, not engineering-wise anyway. You might be able to fake it a little bit by messing with that neck plate, but I'm not going to go there. Okay, I've got my handy spudger here. We're going to see if we can pry the face off with this. Maybe. Oop. Okay, guess I'm going to... Uh-oh. Okay, let's turn the head around. No, there's the battery compartment. I doubt you have to go through there in order to change his head out, his face out. That would be stupid. Wow. Yeah, I'm not sure how this is supposed to work. There's, you know, a little bit of movement in the face, but not that I can really pry off. Okay. Well, there you go. There you got his head tilt up. You know, there's no clearance under the brow to do like kind of an angled pull, so it's kind of tricky. Okay, it's loose, a little bit loose. Definitely not an easy thing to do though. Let's see if we can get any insight here. Let me see about another tool. Also from my iFixit prying toolkit. Got this little thing here. There we go. All right, so if you can see that in there, there's the bulb. The little shiny part right there makes him look like he has a single eye. So that's what the hole is for here, is for that bulb to go inside the red translucent plastic so that his eyes light up. I'm just gonna loose fit this in here because I don't want to deal with having to pry it out so hard next time. Come on there, guy. All right, so there's the second face, and I'm not going to bore you with all the expressions. Let's go over to the IDW faces. All right, there we go. Yeah, this one's a little bit tricky to get in here. I guess it's got a little bit more of a mold to it. All right, this is a tight fit. There we go. All right, my apologies, he's gotten a little bit out of alignment here. So there you have him. Looking really cool. His head tilt down works really well with this angry face. And there he is, looking straight up, looking very menacing, very maniacal. And just to be a completist here, we've got the stern face for the IDW version, as well as the stern face for the G1 version. The semi-smiling face that he is packaged with out of the box. And for those of you wanting to pose a dialogue scene, Here he is with the talking face. Nice. And there you go. I tilted down the neck plate, and he can look up. Oh yeah, one other thing. The spikes here on the head, they've already gotten a little dog-eared, at least this one has. Yeah, this one's not too bad. But I think I pulled a little piece off of this one already. They tend to get a little bent around, at least this one, while you're transforming it from base mode. All right, how about the rest of the accessories from the accessory kit? We've got 8 more Motormaster faces. So in addition with the 2 that you get from Gravestone, you've got a total of 10 faces. So that's pretty impressive for Gravestone. We've got a bunch of small parts here, and we've got a bunch of double barrel guns and a little remote control that belongs to Megatron. And despite the fact that these looked like they were mostly the same, they are actually all unique. And as the base mode shows, it looks like the individual Stunticon's weapons can be mounted onto the double barrel cannons to make triple barrel cannons. Maybe that's not the right weapon for it. It's a little loose. All right, as far as these gun emplacements are concerned, I was able to figure out 3 of them. But this 4th one is a mystery. So yeah, if you've come across this in your set and you know how to mount all 4 of these, hit us up in the comments below and help solve the mystery. All right, so we have this gun configuration here with all the double barrel guns. It would be nice if these were printed in color because it was a little bit confusing as to which one was which and which went where, but I think I eventually got it. So follow these directions and then you can have this combo gun that you can give Menasor. Here it is, combo gun from the top and from the side. And I guess it looks pretty cool. It's a lot to go through just to give him another gun, but now he can double gun it. One thing to note, however, when you're putting this thing together, ooh, that looks pretty cool from this angle. This little part slides onto another part of the, another one of the double barrel guns. And so it slides onto this rectangular piece here. And as you can see, the directions weren't exactly clear as to which direction it should be slid on. So is it either this way with the hole facing the body of the gun, or is it this way with the hole facing away from the body of the gun? But if you do it away from the body of the gun, it wants to slide at an angle. It's not perfectly flush. So be careful, because I've already seen, as you can see there, some plastic wear as if it's getting weakened. So some stress marks. So be careful of this plastic. That is a fairly thin plastic piece, and I'd hate for it to break on you because of that. So I think it's supposed to go with the hole toward the body of the gun because there's more clearance that way. But don't worry about getting it too snug, because otherwise you're going to start stressing the plastic. All right, there you go. We've also got 2 energy blasts that you can mount onto Menasor, and a blast effect that you don't want to let your kids play with. That actually might be a little dangerous. So as far as this looks, whoa. So there you go, blast effect. Interestingly, it seems to be shaving a little bit of the plastic here when you shove this thing back in and out. See a little burr of plastic right here, I think. Leaves kind of a white edge right there. All right. All right, I've got Megatron's box packed away someplace and I can't get to it at the moment. So we're gonna use this little kit here of Megatron faces from Model. They're an accessory company, and this is a kit of faces that you can use for him, including a G1 toy face, the damaged face, and some other faces, and he's got a light up head. So these faces light up. They're not going to, because I haven't replaced the head on Megatron. We're just gonna swap faces. So I think we'll go with the middle face on the top here, which happens to be the one with the electronic head. And we're just going to take the face off here. There we go, as you can see, the electronic head there. It's got batteries inside and a little push button on the back. So that's a pretty cool little kit from Model. And let's do a little face swap here. And there you go. Now he's smiling villainously to himself because he's come up with a solution to his Autobot road problems. This is the remote control that he uses to control the Stunticons in their origin episode, Season 2, Episode 56, The Key to Vector Sigma, Part... Improvement, shall we? All right, joining Megatron, let's bring in MP10 Optimus Prime, one of our MP scale comparison test figures. And now, the bot of the hour, X-Transbots Monolith, their homage to G1 Menasor. All right, so it's starting off okay. This is looking pretty cool. He's definitely towering above Megatron and Optimus, but let's have a bigger look at this. All right, so they are looking really good together. Monolith is definitely towering over them, and Megatron looks good with his remote there. All in all, I'm happy with it. However, to bring a more critical view to this, I'm using a new scale chart. I have been using up to this point the TFW2005.com definitive Sunbow animation chart, as researched and put together by user Techering and colored by user Namkin. However, I have discovered another gentleman who does scale charts, and he's got a very interesting history with the brand of Transformers. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Mike Lorber of Freelance Graphics and his G1 animation chart, specifically the scaling of the Stunticons to Optimus and Menasor. Now what you're seeing here is a pieced together version that I've done from his scale chart. So I preserved the actual ratios of characters one to the other, but I've drawn these characters together for this comparison. All right, so we don't have the individual Stunticons to compare, but here's Optimus and here's Menasor. Now one thing that might tip you off right away is that Optimus actually comes up to about Menasor's knee. Now the perspectives that the characters are often displayed at already have a pretty dramatic angle to them. So here we're pretty much looking up at Menasor. So there's some foreshortening going on, and with Optimus also there's some foreshortening going on. As you can see, he stands in kind of a triangular shape because the camera is supposed to be below him. So allowing for that slip, I still think that Optimus is too tall here compared to XTB's Monolith. He comes up well above Menasor's knee, and if we stack Optimus one on top of each other on the scale chart here, we see that it takes 2 3/4 Optimuses to equal Menasor's height. Now, if we stack MP10 here on top of himself, then we see that it takes about, what, 2 1/4 Optimuses? So that's half an Optimus shorter than the scale chart shows he should be. So all in all, not bad. A little bit too short for the actual scale chart, but still, it would be big enough for my collection. And as you can see here in this pose, he can definitely hold that gun in the middle of his body. That's enabled by the butterfly joints on his shoulders. So that's definitely a good posability feature that X-Transbots included. And as you can see here, the gun blast effect looks pretty cool, dynamic, almost like something out of the cartoon, you know? One note about those hands, they were too loose for them to hold that gun in that position initially, so I had to break out the jeweler's screwdriver set, and that did the trick well enough. One of the hands is still a little loose. I'm not sure if there's anything else I can do about it except maybe some gunk to put in there. I don't know what the stuff is, but something to stiffen up the joint. And otherwise, this is just a note to let you know that the jeweler's screwdriver set is your friend. The balance is finicky. I wish he could have had a double ratchet system, maybe on the hips. He's got a ratchet system that goes out to the sides, but not forward and backward. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, I don't know. It just makes him a little bit precarious to balance and pose. He is top heavy, which I think is the biggest problem. There's a lot of weight in there because Motormaster sits in his chest cavity. Now, as you saw in the rotation, without all the bots attached, he does not need to have Motormaster inside him to complete this mode. So if you're looking for more posability, more agility, then you might try posing Monolith without Motormaster in the back. And as you can see here in this pose, here's Menasor coming at somebody in the middle of battle. Hoo-hoo, there he is throwing some lightning. So if you're interested in Transformers scale charts, Mike has done them for many of the Transformers series, and you can check him out on Facebook as Mike Jonathan Lorber, or just Google Mike Lorber scale charts. Also, if you want to know more about the scale charts and Mike Lorber's history with Hasbro and MP Scale third-party companies, be on the lookout for the Mixelpix interview with him coming soon. So one hanging question about the accessory pack I saw from somebody online was asking if you could complete the look of Menasor without actually having dead end and drag strip, but just using the accessory parts. So they will mount to the arms, but they're really only good as placeholders. The car shell pieces don't make a complete shell for either of the bots, so the center top of the bots is exposed and you can see into the empty arm on both sides. But if you're waiting on those two bots for any reason, it does look decent as a placeholder. Also, I don't know about the details of this, but I came across somebody talking about, I think it was on TFW2005.com, somebody came up with some 3D printed stand-ins that you could put on the arms. The only thing is I don't remember if it was for X-Transbots or if it was for DX9. But then again, you could Google 3D printed X-Transbots Stunticons. So before I close, I wanted to talk about some other disappointments that I had, just briefly. Those being that something broke, Dead End's hood got dinged and scratched, and Dead End's accessory hood also got dinged and scratched. So the breakage occurred when I was removing Dead End from the arm so that I could try the accessory shells out on the arm by itself. The top half of Dead End came off okay. The bottom half was really stuck on there. And one of the plastic retention tabs broke when I finally was able to free it from the arm. So full disclosure, I didn't check with the instructions first, but if you do look at the instructions, those two tabs aren't highlighted or mentioned in the directions. What I had done was I had attempted to rock the part side to side to get it to release, and that may have been what actually broke the tab because only one of them broke and it broke in the direction of the right. So I'm thinking maybe side to side movement's not the best thing, and maybe if you're gonna do it yourself, you need to pull directly straight off the arm. So just a little bit of insight there, and be careful. Now the dings and scratches on Dead End's hood and on his accessory hood must have happened during one of the two falls that I experienced with Monolith over this review. One of them I caught and one of them I didn't. The second one I left him unsupervised and in a standing position. If you can find a pose where he's stable, great. Otherwise, I'd recommend that you treat him like a toddler and don't leave Monolith unsupervised while standing. Okay, final thoughts. Hassles and damages aside, I still like the alt modes for the bots. I still like the combiner mode. I'd recommend taking Motormaster out of the combined mode to make Monolith hopefully less prone to falling over. So to wrap everything up, I hope you found this review useful. I hope you've learned something, and I hope it's gotten you excited about whatever lineup you're looking at or have on order coming to you, whether it's DX9, Fans Toys, or X-Transbots. I've since looked at DX9's combined mode again, and that looks good too. I don't plan on buying another Menasor from DX9 or Fans Toys. I just need some representation on my shelf and in my collection. But then again, I haven't looked at XTB's Berserkers in bot mode yet. If they break, if the quality is just too substandard, then I might just chalk it up as a loss and keep it in my collection and not replace it. But we'll have to see. X-Transbots is finicky. The instructions lack some clarity. Transformation to base mode was really floppy for me. Transformation to combiner mode was also floppy. And I haven't been able to get breakdown satisfactorily tabbed into the fake wheels. The arms don't hang at the same angle on Monolith. And the spring clip for the top portion of Monolith's left arm, dead end side, has no spring action. Combined, Monolith is top heavy and a fall resulted in minor damage. My review experience with XTB's Monolith has soured me a little bit on their quality, which is something a couple of you have already mentioned in the comments. However, my experience with X-Transbots so far has been mostly positive, but I've only handled a couple of their bots, Cosmos and Cliffjumper so far, but I really was blown away by the quality of their Cosmos. I just got my copy of Dr. Egg, and we'll have to see what impression that makes. Okay, final thoughts. Hassles and damages aside, I still like the individual alt modes for the bots. I still like the combiner mode. All right, my fellow Transformers fans, geek gals, and geek guys, that's it for this review of X-Transbots Monolith, their homage to the G1 Stunticon Combiner Menasor, and their optional accessory pack. If you have any questions about the combined mode or the accessory pack that I didn't cover in either part 1 or part 2 of this review, leave a comment in the comments section. I like to interact with you guys. It's fun to have more people be a part of the discussion and share the Transformers collecting experience. I will try to reply. If I don't have the answer, maybe another fan will, and all of us will be better off for it. And help me out by hitting that like button. Super Sport, thank you for being such a sport. You've been very patient. I'm coming at you soon with that review of Fans Toys Scourge and XTB's Sweeps, so be on the lookout for that. And if anyone else has a request out there for a review they'd like to see of a toy that I've unwrapped but haven't reviewed so far, leave me a note in the comments and I'll see what I can do to prioritize that. Finally, thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribers, a big thank you for subscribing. It was only 2 to 3 months ago where I was asking you to help me get the channel up to 300 subscribers. And in this video, I was gonna ask for your help to get up to 400, but the channel surpassed 400 subscribers before I got the second part of this review done. So that is amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let's see how fast we can get up to 600 subs. If you're a frequent watcher but haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well so that you get notified every time a new MX-XIIC video drops. Also, check to see if that notification bell is still active on your account. I personally haven't been getting notifications from channels I've subscribed to, so you may need to go in there and hit that bell again. Once again, thanks for watching. This has been another episode of MX-XIIC's Transformers Time Warp. I'm Mike, and until next time, be well and happy collecting, everybody.